This is the GeoGuessr tournament, round of 32 in the winner's bracket. I made it through the first round. I'm coming back and re-recording the voiceover on this because I didn't do a lot of talking during this round. What I'm saying here is I just don't feel super ready for this. I didn't feel like my practice was going all that well, but I'm going away this weekend and I don't have a lot of time, so I wanted to get it done. So you'll see I didn't win. I didn't make it through. I'll be in the loser's bracket from here on out. But I wanted to give it a good try and just talk through some of my thought processes and why I chose where I chose and what I'm doing. So here we'll be getting started right now on the first round. So here this looked like, you know, kind of South Central Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri area, and I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at, you know, looking for license plates. And there, that license plate is clear, and I know that that is Arkansas now. At the time, for some reason, I don't know if it's a brain fart or whatever, I just didn't recognize that as Arkansas, which was the key to the whole game. This is where I lost most of the points against my head-to-head partner. You see that up there, 130 and 270. At first, I started looking to see if potentially that 270, there was like some spur or a loop off of US 70, and that's what they were talking about. You know, I know there's one around St. Louis. There's a number of them along 70, and I didn't know if maybe there was one up in Columbia or somewhere in the middle of Missouri that might make sense. But I'm already down to 30 seconds left, and that's where I really have to start just making a guess, because I'm not going to randomly stumble on state routes 130 or 270, or even US routes. I don't know those roads in this part of the country well enough. And so I tried to just pick something sort of southwestern Kentucky that might be kind of in the middle of the region of where things would be. Obviously, if I had figured out that plate like I should have, I would have been somewhere in Arkansas. It would have been a lot closer. As it is, 2,189 points. Once I saw that someone had gotten that close, I knew there had to be some clue about Arkansas in the shot, but hindsight is hindsight, right? I have the 2189, and that's what I have to live with. Ultimately, the person I played against got over 4,000 points on this round, and that ended up being the difference. I lost by about 2,500, and the difference is pretty much right here. So now we move on to second round. We're in a more urban area. I'm excited about this. We already saw the New York plate. I can already see that this is the shoreline, so I know I'm going to be in western New York, somewhere near the Great Lakes. We've seen a number of Great Lakes stuff. Now, we've got a road sign. So we have a little rotary here, Peace Bridge to 190 North. So I know we're going to be all the way over by Canada. 190 stops up there near Niagara Falls. And so I know we got to be a little farther down. So I'm looking for any place that might have a shoreline drive, or that's the first place I looked. I realized there's got to actually be a rotary there. And so I put this little marker down. I was like, oh, wait, that can't be right. And then I realized Peace Bridge is going to be a big enough name that we can recognize. So I started up with the top bridge. That would be at the top of 190. And then just started moving down towards Buffalo to try and find it. With 30 seconds left, I felt pretty confident that we could get to Peace Bridge. That's the Rainbow Bridge. That's already on the highway. That wasn't going to cut it. So I knew we had to keep going to find the correct bridge. And eventually we get down. There's Peace Bridge. And then we just need to find the little rotary entry point. So I'm looking around, trying to find it. There it is back there. I didn't have the time to go and try to exactly place where we were, which obviously CG did down there. But I only lost 1 point. So I knew I wouldn't be more than 1 point behind my opponent in this point. Here I'm looking right at the sign, 203. I'm a New England guy. I knew that was a Connecticut one, even though the plates didn't look an awful lot like Connecticut. I saw a lot of white. And so I wasn't sure whether that was like the grayish of Rhode Island or the white of New York that would be close enough to one of those where we'd be seeing all of these non-Connecticut plates. I wasn't thinking clearly enough. I think, you know, in hindsight, obviously it makes a little more sense given some of the atmosphere around here and the way the trees are looking that it would be closer to New York. I decided I was going to have to make a guess that instead of just sticking something right in the middle of Connecticut, I believe the address up there says Post Road, right? Which I know is Route 1 between Boston and New York. It's the old Post Road. It was the first road in the U.S., or what became the U.S. And so it could be down there, which is where it actually is. But I decided to go a little farther to the other side, hoping that those white plates were Rhode Island and not New York. And it was the incorrect gamble. They were, in fact, over there closer to New York, where I should have been able to find it right along Route 1. That's going to cost me a couple hundred points, but not enough ultimately to make any real difference in my particular one-on-one matchup. Now we move along here. This is farther out west. This looks very familiar. I was talking about how I think I've even been at this spot before. There's the little county marker, which in the west they have in Colorado, which was where I originally was thinking. This would be western Colorado somewhere, but it didn't feel like the right spot. Like the look of it to me, even western Colorado, which is a lot more deserty and a lot less of this tall peak mountains, I just didn't feel confident going with Colorado, even though that sign should have told me that it was in Colorado. I decided to go up in Wyoming. I don't think those county signs are in Wyoming, and obviously I could have gotten a little bit closer down there than I did. So there's, again, just like the Rhode Island one or the Connecticut one, a couple hundred points that I missed there. But ultimately, even if I had both of those a lot closer to where they were, a lot closer to where I should have guessed, it wouldn't have ultimately made a difference because I missed that license plate in Arkansas at the very beginning. That one round is going to end up being the real difference. So we move into another Western round, and this just confused the heck out of me. I didn't do well here. Turns out my head-to-head opponent didn't do that well either, so this one ultimately didn't matter. No front plate on that car, which was confusing to me because I know a lot of those that I would typically guess would have front plates on them. There's a lot of green here. It's irrigated. It says South Brokenback Road, which was not something I recognized. I didn't see a lot of high peaks. It seemed a little browner, a little drier. And so immediately I was thinking, is it even Oregon or Washington? I probably should have thought more about Wyoming than I did. Ultimately, I knew I was going to have to, like the first round, just kind of put a spot down in the center of a region that I thought it could be. And so ultimately, I was trying to decide between eastern or western Idaho was really where I was going to go. Did I want to make it a little more towards Oregon, or did I want to stick it a little bit over towards Wyoming, which is where I should have done it? I went with the Oregon one, pretty far over there, actually. And clearly that was the wrong choice because it was in Wyoming. And I could have picked up some more points there. But even if I had gotten rounds 3, 4, and 5, closer guesses to where I should have made them, I don't think it would have been enough to pick up. So 17 to 67 is not bad. This is not an easy set of locations by any means. But Fearless Leader 3 there at number 2 at 20,775 is my partner that I was head-to-head against. And so he beat me actually by 3,500. But really it was that first round and the 27 or 2,800 points I lost there. I think these are a number of little errors on the other rounds that I could have corrected if I had been in a little better practice. But that's not how it turned out. So I'll move into the losers bracket and I'll have another chance. And you can watch those videos in the future.